Hey guys, welcome back to the second episode of what I'm going to coin the term as Wheycast. In this episode, me and Taran, don't get that joke? No? Alright, not funny. Talk about how to get booked for beginning producers slash DJs. If you are just starting out or have a very small following and want to know how to get shows, this is going to be the episode for you. It's going to explain how to do it professionally and the right way. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. Today's guest is Taran. He goes by Hvzvrd, and we have a really interesting conversation to talk about today. It's not so much production, but more so in the actual event space of doing live events. So I'm going to kind of let you introduce yourself here, Taran, and go right ahead.
What up, guys? My name's Taran. I go by Hvzvrd, and I basically have been in the electronic music scene since I was about 17. I'm 27 now. I wasn't always Hvzvrd. I went by a couple different monikers like Professor Tarbrains and DJ Tearing It Up. So it's been a little bit of a journey, that's for sure. Yeah, we're gonna talk about some really cool things. Not production, more of like the business and the event side and how to get into that scene and see what we can do as like a beginning producer.
Absolutely. So to follow on that, what we mean by this, in this modern age, in my opinion, I think most would agree, you put out music nowadays to show people who you are, but that necessarily doesn't make the most. Streaming money isn't really there. So what you need to work up to are these live events and putting out your value for live events and showing people that, hey, I'm building my following, but B, I can do this stuff live. I am, an entertainer as we should be. And I think that's the biggest thing of establishing in the scene as you're growing. Taran, do you want to kind of talk about your background with events? You host them and put them on. So do you want to kind of talk about your background getting into that, or how you got into hosting events and all that?
So I'm based out of Wyoming, and our EDM scene is slim to none. So me and my friends who are also producers and DJs, we had to build it ourselves. I mean, it's still growing. Like, we're at a very early stage still, and we've been doing it for, I would say, about 5 years now. And we just had our first actual like music festival this year. Like, it was socially distanced and everything because like it hit like right after COVID. And it was insane. We still had like 400 people there, but our grounds were so large that we were able to keep people socially distanced and have masks and everything. And I won't take any credit for that. That was all Konica, another artist that I work with here in Wyoming. He funded the whole thing. He put it on. I just helped organize and see what I could do with it. But we have a couple venues that we normally work with, just some local bars, honestly, that turn into venues on certain nights of the week, and they allow us to play dubstep and electronic music. And we've had a couple artists come from other states and everything like that, but nothing as of yet. But basically we had to do it all our own. Like, there's no clubs here. There's absolutely no clubs here. So
that's crazy. I guess I a question that came to mind when you were saying that is, how do you go about, I guess, for, say, someone wants to kind of be in your shoes, they don't really have a big scene around them, and they maybe want to be on the promoter slash hosting side. How should they go about contacting a business or approaching a business to bring this up?
Basically, you just got to be up front. Like, when we first started doing it, like we had a skate rink. It was like a roller skate rink that we started doing it with, and it basically became the place where we could throw shows. Like, there was a sound system in there. They already had the space, and the guy that he was the son of the owners was really interested in DJing, and he was already DJing on a laptop, didn't have a controller or any kind of equipment, just had a sound system and a drive. And so we kind of just approached his parents and was like, can we throw shows? Like, let's do it. Can we can sell tickets. We can make you guys some money, because not a lot of people were roller skating and everything on that end.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
it was help growing in their business. Okay. So just being upfront about it and giving them obviously the proceeds from most of the ticket sales as well.
Yep.
Cool. So that's really cool. Let's see here. I have a list of questions I'm ready to ask you. So you said you've been an artist for around 10 years now.
Yeah, it's been about 10 years. Yep.
And then you've been doing the promoting side and hosting for 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Would you say that you hosting and putting on these events shows a completely, or brings clarity to mind on some business aspects that you wouldn't regularly know as an artist?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of put into play a lot of different aspects of like the business, like having the sound, the promotion, the networking, the being able to like just talk to people, not just show up and play. Like, because that's a lot of the side that I saw at first. Was it was just somebody's gonna do this for me, I'm just gonna show up and play. And
Exactly.
it was like, that's just not how it is when you have to do it from scratch.
And I think that's the showing up and play aspect is probably what most of us are used to. We talk to the promoter, we get booked, whatever. We show up, we have our hour slot, we do our thing, and we're done, right? So, I guess one big thing, and we were kind of talking about as a smaller producer that's starting out in the scene, is say they really want to book their first show as opening support or something. They're not a huge established artist yet, obviously, or they've got very few, if any, release tracks that are, let's say, subpar. What would be advice you would give them to approach you to try to prove that they can play a opening slot, or how can they leverage their value per se?
So I'll kind of go back a little bit. About a year ago, I had just come back from a 3-year hiatus of not doing much with music, just studying in books, doing music theory. And I didn't have a sound anymore. I didn't know who I was as a producer. So I rebranded to Hvzvrd. And I had to go through that same exact thing. I had to show my worth, rebuild a fan base. And basically, like, the biggest advice I could give anybody that is just starting out and doesn't have like a selection of original music that's good, it may not even be mastered to like the best ability, maybe just like a lander master,
Yeah.
make a mix, shoot your shot. And you got to be able to sell yourself in a way of like, and be humble to know your position. Like tell the promoter, tell the event coordinator, like, I am a beginner, but I am willing to do whatever it takes to get either an opener spot. Like, I'm willing to help. I'm willing to pick up trash afterwards. Like, any kind of thing to like show your value in
Yes.
that aspect.
Wow, that hits pretty close. So I'll give my personal experience of when I played my first show in no, I think it was November of 2019. Is when I got to play like a side stage. Super cool, super excited, be in a club system. I hit up. This was in a Skyway Theater in Minneapolis, which is a cool venue. Don't get me wrong. And to go off what you're kind of saying, is I kind of did that same thing. I had 2 songs that came out at this point. One was an original, my first original, and then second was a remix I did for it was one of Lemonade songs, and it wasn't even official. I was just like, I like the song, I'm ripping it, I'm doing it type deal,
Yep.
And they're okay. The mix and master was done by me as a beginner, so take that with a grain of salt. It was loud, I'll tell you that.
Yep, been there. Yep.
Yeah. So the same thing kind of approached. The booking agent said, send me kind of a mix of what you do. So I sent him a quick 20-minute mix, kind of what I do. And I do very heavy dubstep style. That's just my stuff. He liked it. He gave me the opportunity. And and I got to play this first event. It was super cool, but I think definitely the way to approach it as well, and kind of adding what you're saying, is be a team player. People in the industry understand industry things for the most part. Unless you go to some promoter that is awful and just plays favorites and plays the same people every weekend. And I'm talking bigger scene. If you're in
Oh
a
yeah.
selected smaller scene, but I
Oh
know
yeah.
some places in Denver that do that, but their shows are also not selling that well.
Yep.
And that goes hand in hand. But show that you're willing to make that go the extra mile, 100%. And let's say you don't have the physical contact. They didn't get to physically come up and meet you. I guess especially now with COVID and all that stuff, it's pretty hard to meet people face to face nowadays.
Absolutely.
People get in contact with you. They send you, you know, uh, a mix, and they're fitting all the categories we're talking about, newer and all that stuff. You have a producer that just sent you a mix and he has maybe 1, 2, maybe 0 songs, but he's talking about how he's trying to upcome. You have a DJ, just a DJ. He just wants a DJ. He just likes to DJ. He's pretty good. He's been doing it for a little bit. Both can DJ. The crowd saying are good enough, where they're not gonna fuck up everything, hit Q button 20 times, and ruin the whole mood. Who would you pick and why? Let's say the DJ already has some type of small following. He's still very smaller, but he's been booked already a couple times for, say, the first show.
So there's a couple things that could come into aspect. Like, it depends on the, like, what we're really looking for. Say we already have some, like, we already have a lot of our slots filled, and we're looking to get some fresh act, like some, maybe they didn't do very well the first time, or like maybe they did and we just see potential. But it would really come down to the person, and if they're willing to, I don't know, like, I'll go back to it, be humble about their craft, and be humble about what they want to be doing. Like, because I mean, established artists are established artists. Like, if they're going to pull a crowd, like, they're more likely to get booked. But me personally, like, I want to give the lower guys a chance. You know,
Yeah,
if I've seen them mix, I'll probably have them send me a mix, or send me, like, even if it's just original work. And if I see growth in them, or like they're like willing to grow, or like just, I don't know, grow as a community, then I'm gonna be more likely to book somebody that's maybe not as big.
I got you. Um, as far as um returning access, I know this is kind of different among different book someone. They they do their thing, right? Um, what do you look for? Talent? Do you look for? Are they responding to, like, I guess whenever, let me reframe this. Hold up. Whenever you book someone, you see them perform. How are you grading their performance? Obviously, you want to play the music that you're promoting. A big thing, you know, if you go to a dubstep show and
Yep.
play only house, you're probably not going to get the same reaction as a house crowd, right? But how do you, I guess, grade them, or do you grade them?
So
Or do you, yeah, what's your process then?
it really depends. Like, so okay, so I have a buddy of mine that where I'm teaching him production. He's growing, and one of the main things that I really like about his style, like seeing him perform, I like 7 or 8 times now, is that he's consistent. But there's one downside to that, and nothing against him. He's an amazing producer, but like, the one thing I look for in most acts is diversity. Like, can you open? Can you be a middle performer, or can you close out the show? Like, it really, like, if you can't like adjust yourself in those manners, like, yo, I'm opening the show, I gotta feel out the crowd. Like, a lot of people are like, they're really nervous unless you're going to like Excision's Paradox tour, like, not
It's
really,
just
I mean,
all headliners.
yeah, and like, you know exactly what to expect. Everybody's going to be headbanging, everybody knows the artist. Like, but when like we're booking, when we're doing these shows, like, we don't know our crowd. We know some of the locals that are going to come. We know like the small enough crowd, but like we're also trying to get the rest of the people that may never even heard a dubstep track in their life to be able to get down to it. And so if for me to grade like an artist that I would personally be booking, or that like my team would be personally be booking, like, is diversity. Like,
Okay.
can you fit the mold?
Okay, perfect. So I guess that kind of leads me to another question that I had, because you kind of brought it up. You said, can they fit the mold? Can they play that time slot? Obviously, you have openers, mids, and closers, right? What is your take on playing your slot? What does that mean to you? Do you believe in it? And the reason why I ask this is because I know a few promoters, and some do, and some honestly don't care at all. So what's your take on that? What do you believe in? Let me mute my phone. There you go.
No worries.
Go.
I definitely do believe in playing your slot. Like, the last few shows that we've done, I've had an 11 to midnight slot. So, and I have a very specific, not a specific style. Like, I have a like a ratio system that I go through when I play. And like sometimes, like if I'm opening the show, like that's my slot. Take pride in it, do the best you can, but mold it to where you can allow people to kind of just get up in there. But like I definitely do believe in like playing your slot. Like if I was getting booked in Denver at a club and I'm playing a 9 to 10, and there was one dude before me and he was really inexperienced, like I'm not gonna walk into the room and just start with a 150 BPM headbanger track. Like I'll ease everybody in. I'll allow them to, I don't know, feel it out and give space for the rest of the night to go on smoothly without tiring everybody out.
So, okay. So I guess when you're saying play your slot and energy, I understand that the energy level should be a little bit lower. Do you do that via BPM? Do you do something maybe music a little less? Do you play? Oh, hold up. Do you play dubstep or
Yep.
house, or what do you play when you?
Okay, so I'll kind of run through like exactly how I set out like a set. Like every time I do it, it's exactly the same, which is kind of weird. I mean, like different song selection every time, but like give or take a few songs that I love to play out. But I start out, I always produce an opener, just an opener track to like,
I
it
love
kind
doing
of
that too.
announces, it announces who you are. It
It
gives you,
yeah, it sets the chorus for the whole thing, dude. I
mean,
love it.
it's so good. It gives you unique, because it allows it to be a unique experience too, because
Exactly.
it might just be like, I use it a lot of times just to like show off some sound design skill, just because like with an opener track you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can flex, you can draw
Yeah.
it out, you can build the
Yep.
tension, you can literally set the utopia how you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
And that's what I start with every time. Like now that I realize like I can do that. And then I go straight down to some halftime dubstep, just 75 BPM, and then I work my way up through BPMs. And then the last like 10 minutes is just straight 150 build up drop mixing. And then the outro is usually either like one of my originals that's slower, or something more euphoric to give them like kind of like a break for the next guy. Like,
I feel that. I've been well, I guess in my recent show uh I did like a future bass slash dubstep remix for my buddy. That's like, it was a rap song originally. It's still 150, but it's a very good way to have some energy but also some balance giving going into the next guy as well.
right.
Um but I guess, okay, so playing your slot, I want to touch down on this because I feel we can say play your slot, play a little bit low energy, but some people feel kind of like it's a gray zone. So I'm gonna go in a little bit deeper if you're cool with that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So what I believe in playing your slot, first off, for anyone, if it's your music at all, I don't care if it's the Murata level energy or how calm it is, you should be able to play your track, even if you're opening.
Yep.
If you have a Murata style track, play your music. It's your space. Always play what you create. I don't think anyone's gonna argue with that ever. B, play your slot, yes. But I think as a personal experience, so like, I guess I can kind of talk about my style. I do a ton of edits. I love doing custom edits. I don't like to do crazy DJ techniques on. I'm a producer, right? So
Same.
I plan my sets out 100%, and even the extra 30 minutes if I need to hold on. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, everything is planned. I'm not like, oh, the crowd's not fucking with this, I'm gonna adjust to something else. That's just not how I roll. So knowing your slot ahead of time will always be key. And then yes, feed off the energy. Even me, I'm a pretty constant 150er, but if I'm more opening, I'm gonna throw in some more like track or like chart track songs.
Yeah.
Can't talk, dude. It's morning, but like
top 40.
yeah,
I mean,
something cool. But I'm also gonna
say top 40, but like something that's gonna be interesting enough.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna throw something with vocals that's gonna breathe for a little bit, and then this is where my edit comes in, where I build it into something hype. But it's not just gonna be banger after banger after banger after banger.
Right.
I mean, for some parts of my thing, I'll do that. I'll do, forward build up, go heavy. Let's relax for a little bit. Let's do some vocal work, and even if you're playing your slot, you can still play some heavy tracks, and even some whatever ones you love. But you just got to mix in some lower energy into that. You can still play your high bangers. Don't play the headliner song ever, by the way. I don't know.
Yep.
I think this is a general rule. Anyone that's above you, so if Company, Wooly, Excision are all above me, I'm not touching any of their songs ever. That's the quickest way to get never booked again. I think that's probably that, and damaging the equipment, I think, are the two biggest things that will never get you booked again. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. When we had Mad Mountain Music Festival, we had specific headliners, and in their riders, there was on a couple of them, like, because we had DMVU booked for Matt, and like he backed out at the last week because of COVID, which was completely understandable. We understood his agent's like position on it, but like there was a point where it had said in there that we were not allowed to play certain tracks, which was, yes. I completely agree with that. I mean, like, if there's a headliner, like our actual headliners ended up being Tyro and Freddie Rule.
Okay.
And like they didn't have it in their riders. I don't remember if they had it in their riders or not, but like among us that were like actually like organizing and helping out and everything like that, like we disagreed. We're like, yep, don't play them, because they ended up playing every song that we would have wanted to play anyways.
Yeah, that's good choice. So yeah, I guess I kind of went on a side tangent there, but yeah, overall, if you're an opener, you can still play your BPM home set. So if you mainly play 150, you can still play 150. Just know you have to add in more calm parts, maybe more tension parts. Think if you're at a festival when people do this 2-minute build up to some type of drop. Just make sure it's not just up here the whole time. Give them some time. You want to spend more time, I don't know, going down. And I think that's fun too. I mean, for me, because I do like feature based. I like vocalist stuff, even though I mainly produce just grimy, the bang tear out stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a big way of doing that, and just knowing your slot. And then if you know the person coming up after you or before you and their style, you can kind of get a texture. If you're coming up or just learning, if you're just getting booked, you're probably not gonna know who's coming what afterwards. But yeah, definitely play your time slot. And I would always ask the people or your promoter, if you're the artist, just like, hey, do you want me to play my slot to the extent, or just go out? What does that mean to you?
Right.
It may sound like you are inexperienced, but even then, I will ask every person I get booked with. I'll be like, you believe in playing your slot? Yes. What does that mean to you? Because it can mean something completely different to me, even though I'm low energy. Maybe it's something that just doesn't sit right with them. I want to make sure that them as a booking agent feel confident in the people that they're booking. And I guess that's kind of where I come off. And even if the person does not believe in playing your slot, I would still play some lower energy, kind of abide by it, and then play some bangers if you want.
Mm-hmm.
If they believe, that the person above you should have more heavier stuff, more custom, and all that stuff, and that's what they believe in, but still giving them room. Say the guy after you maybe isn't as prepared as you to go all out. Just give him a little bit of room. What I say.
Right.
But yeah. So let's see. That was playing your slot. Let's see what else we got here. What's uh what's the best way for someone to get booked by you? Is it how, I guess, let's talk about how do you like being reached out to? And what is a message what is a message that you would like to see ideally? Like someone put in like, hey, blah blah, I'm interested in this event, I am this, here are my links or something like that. What would be the optimal for you?
So I'll kind of start with, if you're a beginning producer and say you just made your artist page on Facebook and you're looking to get booked, whatever you do not add them as a friend and then just send them an invite to like your page and then message them. Always go about it like the authentic way. I mean, like when you're just starting out, like send an email, build a simple press kit. Like even if
you're talking like an EPK.
Yeah. Yep.
So, side question, EPKs for newer people. How would you approach that? Because at least in mine, I have my latest releases, my style, kind of my brandish all together, and then venues and events I've already played. Right. So you have a testimony of music, events, and then background about you and what kind of your style is. Right. So if you're a newer artist, you just came up with, say, I don't know, the name Grime or something. I'm gonna err on the side that they really don't understand branding to the full extent. They have a name, they put out a subpar track. How would you say they should organize maybe their press kit? Like a very simple just discovery page? Or
I would do like a discovery page, and I mean a very simple discovery page with maybe some like photos. Maybe they've played some just like really local shows and they've got like some just some camera photos from like an iPhone or whatever. Just like throw that on there, but arrange it in a way where it can be short and sweet to the point. Maybe they're learning production, like they can throw that in there, like currently in the process of learning production. But it all comes down to like you can really tell like who's done like adequate research on like what should be in an EPK, because I mean the internet's at our hands right now. Like there's so many, there's blogs, there's so many ways to get information on how to build that and build it good enough. Even if you you maybe have 2 songs and they're like all of us have started out with like maybe a really terrible master.
and probably mix.
Oh yeah, and one definitely probably mix. I mean, a lot of my music that I started out with wasn't even routed to the master, and I use FL Studio, so you have to do that manually.
So. Oh god. And to add, for EPKs for anyone, there are really good tutorials online. They are more for bigger artists, but if you're just starting out, like he's saying, just having a few headshots, explaining you're pretty much like a mission statement, who you are, what you want to do. If you're learning production, that's fine. I guarantee if you have an EPK as someone starting out, maybe if it's only a page, just talking about who you are in your mission statement, you're doing better than, I would say, probably 99% of anyone else starting out, because they're not going to think like this. They're going to shoot a friend request. They're going to message them, yo, can I get a slot? Like, blah, blah, But if you go about this professionally, even without the experience, I think it goes a long ways. And, for the people that are interested in, like, what is a press kit, I'll link another YouTube video in the description below of just like a general press kit, so you kind of understand what you're sending. And you like it always in PDF, right? When it's sent.
Oh yeah. If it's in PDF, then it just opens in your browser. Yeah, yep. You don't have to go to Google Docs or figure out Microsoft Word. Just like a PDF is perfect. And if even if it's not a PDF, if you just make it literally a JPEG, Like you could make it like a flyer.
Yeah, make it a
And
flyer, do PDF. But if you make it a JPEG,
yeah, I mean, like if I don't know, like there's so many ways to do it. Like you can get creative, you can make it colorful, like you can make it pop if you want to, but like professional is the way to go. Like there's so
100%.
many examples of press kits online from the big artists. Like I think Excisions is even on Google.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I'm almost like probably from like back in the day, but like I don't know, Reddit's been my best friend on finding like people's press kits from like different events.
Do you have any so random question, is this on any specific subreddit, or is this just like an EDM subreddit?
Just like an EDM
Okay.
subreddit.
Okay. I was gonna say I can link it if you know the exact one, but
I might be able to find it.
all right. Well, if you find it, it'll be linked below for you guys. If not, well, you won't see it. Cool. Yeah. No, I think that's awesome information. All right. So besides, we kind of talked about the abuse of the equipment. I had this question down already, and playing out someone's tunes that's above you. What's another good way of never getting booked again? What should people avoid? Like big things that stick out to you, red flags.
Just like I don't know, acting like you are like the biggest or the best. I know personally, I don't care how many followers you are. If you're a dick, you're a dick. Like,
yeah, being a people person is and I'll give you guys one of the biggest secrets in this field. It's connections, authentic connection. It really goes a long way. People that you actually connect with and actually talk to and get to know before, and even if you don't want anything from them, just making that connection, or even if you do, like maybe you're like, I really like this guy's music, maybe I want to collab in the future. Getting to know this person in a face-to-face way, making sure you guys have the same energy, or if this is like collab wise, or make sure the vision, and then asking. Don't just be like, yo, like your music, collab bro. Don't comment collab bro on anything.
never.
God, no.
And also, so like I joined Brightside's Discord recently, and they had another gentleman on there. I can't remember who he was exactly, but they were talking about collabs. And if you have an artist that you look up to highly, I just want you to know they're probably so backed up with collabs right now that sure, shoot your shot, but don't hold so much stock in it. If they don't respond to you, or if they just like turn you down immediately, like
And
don't worry about it.
And to add on this, I know we're getting kind of production or this stuff, but collabing with someone has to be a mutual win. Why would, say, Excision collab with someone small as me that has very little exposure compared to him? It doesn't make sense. Just kind of know you need to like stay in your lane, unless your production's out of this world and you're upcoming. Say like, you know, shout out Hvzvrd.
Right.
He's
Insane.
super small. He's growing. He'll be huge soon, but he has the production to match with these big boys. Yeah, collab with people in your realm or around your realm, or you know, if somehow you get lucky and you make that connection, you collab with someone, that's great. It's a good learning experience for you both, because you'll learn that you have very different styles. Producing is not A to B, and it's a cool thing. But I think that, yeah. Sorry, I get these little tangents.
I mean, even on that little tangent, like if you're starting out in production, it's always cool to have people in your network that are close to you. Maybe they live nearby, or maybe they're your best friend, and you guys have the same interest. Like, so I'll shout out my best friend in the whole world. His name's Michael, and he goes by Kylo. And we made our song Guitar Wonky, and I was teaching him production during it.
Yeah, no,
like,
I think that's
it was
very,
incredible.
very big. If you are getting into production and you can find a mentor, it's huge. I was luckily able to find one when I started production by a mutual friend. I had no idea, and this guy helped me just in general, little small things. I'd be making the crappiest serum patches, this and that, and I'd be like, oh, like, what does this thing exactly do? And he kind of explained it to me, or shoot me a YouTube link that kind of helped. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, it's always good to have a network of people, or even just one person that's more experienced than you. Yep. They can tell you what you're doing wrong. And when you're starting out, that's like 99% of the things you're doing. Just because
What it,
produce
go on.
hard.
Yeah, it's and it well like and this also relates into like the getting booked and everything. Say somebody that's mentoring you really believes in what you're doing, really is really helping you build your brand, your style, and you're just growing. You're growing hard. Like they're gonna be able to be that bridge. Maybe they know more promoters. Maybe they know who you're trying to get booked with, and they can bridge that gap. They can be like, yo, I've been in the studio with this kid for a hot minute now, and he has a ton of potential. And then it just opens that door.
Yeah, I got to uh through that. I actually got to meet one of Beyonce's older producers. We didn't talk about production or anything, but through that mutual friend, we all got to meet, and he got to tell me all about these crazy stories back in the day. And I was like, it's such like sometimes you just sit there and like it's such a small world.
Oh yeah,
Like it's crazy to think of that stuff. Um,
that's incredible, honestly.
so you know what? We didn't do this at the wait. I don't think you talked about this at the beginning, and so I'm sorry that I didn't bring this up. You have a new EP coming out.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
tell us about it. Tell us the background of it. What's it gonna be? Where can they expect it, and where can they find it?
So I don't even like I know where I kind of want to start with this. So the new EP is it's called True Religion, and it has no religious bias at all. Just like a disclaimer there, like it's called True Religion mainly because that's the name of one of the songs because it came out just perfectly. And it's a little bit on the left field bass side, more it's in like the 120 119 range. And
Okay. So it's gonna be
it's
a house
I
style,
you would
or
you
what
would
do you?
think so. You would think so, but there's maybe like a house part in one of the songs, but you guys will hear it when it comes out.
Okay. All right. All right.
But it's more just down tempo, wobbly, just weird. It's really weird, but it's not like I wouldn't call it book bass because my friends won't let me call it book bass
Boop,
because
boop,
it's
boop,
not.
boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, it's wobbly. It's super wobbly,
Hey, I like the
and
wobbles.
where it came from, man, like I was feeling really like left not left out, but like kind of behind in my sound design and in what I was trying to do. I felt like I was listening to a lot of music and I kept trying to replicate their sounds, and I was just I was really just down on myself. I didn't think I could do this anymore. I didn't want to pursue my brand anymore. And then I just started screwing around in Serum. I just loaded up in a knit patch and I started messing with things that I've never screwed with before. And I designed the singular wub of
Give us one thing that you usually don't touch that you did, if you can remember. Something
I
that's
usually
weird.
usually so it's actually something that I stop doing instead of that I do. Like I screw with FM synthesis. Like I usually put FM at like 25 or 50, like on FM to B.
Yep.
And I didn't do that this time. I was like, all right, screw it. I can't design the sounds that I really want to make, and so I threw on Bend instead.
Ooh. Ben
And
minus.
Bend Plus actually. Yep.
Okay. I'll
And
say I'm a
just
big fan of Ben.
yep, yeah. It's a lot of it was just that little bit of experimenting, and also going into the matrix of Serum and taking the voices way down because I was using unison instead of I was using unison and it just became way too wide. But I turned down the voices and all of a sudden it just like made this one sound that was it resonated with me and like what I wanted to do. And I was just like it kind of like revamped me. So I made the whole song in like 2 days. The
Animal.
original song for True Religion, and sent it to my buddy Kylo, and he's like, you don't make this kind of stuff, and I was like, but I'm going to, and he was just like, okay. He's like, I'll back you on this.
So this is gonna be more of an experimental release for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is it's definitely something I've been branching into way more lately, but like it was the start of the more experimental side with. So like, don't get me wrong, I love Wook bass, like I love it. I love that left field stuff, but like a lot of it doesn't seem like it has enough structure.
I agree.
Like
It can get a little wild sometimes.
it
Uh,
it can almost be like
I think like
just
the off. off-grid like percussion that can go in the drop can kind of really, I don't know, sometimes that's what takes me out as a listener.
Right.
I'm all for like, you know, I'm not a big Flume person, but like Flume does the offbeat stuff right. The timing's weird, but you're like, hey, it works. And then sometimes you hear it in a drop and you're like,
yeah, like I don't know what's happening right now.
I'm just here.
And so I mean, so I like those sounds.
Awesome.
But I wanted it structured, and so I did it.
And for you guys wanting to check it out, this video will be out. Your EP comes out exactly a month from recording now, December 15th, right?
Yep, exactly a month from now.
Okay. How many songs?
In your time zone? 3, just 3.
3 songs? Cool. That's awesome, man. Well, this will definitely be out beforehand, but I will put the pre-save link in the description for you guys, along with the socials as well, which you'll see on screen. And on that,
drop it.
This is called hypnosis.
There's some teasers in it in a couple of my mixes from the last like two mixes that I've done, one for a birthday and one for Halloween. But like I've always left out like the parts that I'm most proud of, just to save it for you guys. Like,
we'll bet.
It's so much fun.
You're a better person than I am. I finish a song and I'm on stage and I'm like, you guys want to hear some new shit?
Yeah. I've done that a couple times on some songs I'll make in like a couple days, and I'll be like, yo, I'm gonna test this live and come rage with you.
I'll be like, all right, I'm only gonna play 1 drop. Ah, fuck it, we'll do 2. Let's get it. Change up. Yeah, I'm the worst at that. Okay, so we can get back kind of on track here. Let's see here. Check my list real quick. Okay, yeah. So I guess my next question is, when's your next event that you guys doing?
we've kind of put events on hold at the moment, just because so Wyoming's in like, we throughout this whole COVID thing, we've been at the insanely lowest numbers like of the country, and lately we have risen to, I mean, we only have maybe 400,000 people in our state, and but we've risen to 5% of the state is now confirmed cases. And so we've kind of put it on a hold, just because out of respect for the community and the fact that like we don't know what's going to happen. Like, this is really new for Wyoming. Like, we don't usually, when like giant things happen in the United States, like we don't get hit as hard. But at the moment, we're kind of just like, we're sitting down, we're making a game plan for 2021.
Got you.
Because we still got Mad Mountain in the works for next year. And then we're gonna have quite a few more events here and there. But we were hoping to have one on New Year's, but we might not do it just because of the whole COVID thing. Like, it might not be a thing.
That's fair. Another question I just thought of as well. So that you're putting on events, right? And this is going to be more so for the people that maybe are interested in starting to get into hosting / promoting events. Say you get this bar or something, right? Like how you're saying, you turn into a little club area. They have a subpar sound system. What do you guys go through to make sure you get all the right equipment that you need? Or do you just rent it out through, like, say, Guitar Center, or what are you doing to kind of gauge that?
So we actually, I run a wedding DJ business on the side, so we have a lot of sound on hand already.
Okay.
If we say it's a bigger venue and we can't like handle the capacity we're going to hold, then we go through just like a local sound company that does like there's a company here in Casper, Wyoming called Dynamic Sound and Lighting, and they did the whole sound for Mad Mountain Music Festival.
Okay.
And it was incredible. Line array speakers, like it looked and sounded like an actual festival, which was incredible. They did amazing. So we usually branch out if we need to.
Was that VJ included?
Oh yeah. Well, kind of. We had Potent Productions from Colorado do our VJing, and they brought like a giant LCD screen and stuff, and it was insane.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
But the dynamic sound and lighting, they did like the lasers and the fog and all that kind of all that like all
In-house
the
stuff.
yeah, the light show and everything like that. But Dynamic did like all the VJing.
That's super dope. They did that. I guess you're postponing events for now, working down on probably getting all that marketing ready for this EP to drop. Is there any other questions that you have, say, that you want to ask me, or maybe as a, say, if you're a promoter talking to a producer that's contacting you, is there any other questions that maybe I didn't bring up that maybe stick out, or
What's one thing that you don't think that people should send a promoter?
what's one thing I don't think someone should send a promoter? Good
Yep.
question. I think that you should not if you're looking for just booking reason for the promoter, don't send them so many external links. And I guess this comes back kind of to the EPK. But if you're promoting and they just want a guest mix or something just to see what your style is, I think you should send them your main social. So you should say maybe like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, have the hyperlinks right there, ready to go. So you just click see your profile, and then B, just that guest mix. Or if you want, I think that you should also, and this is kind of, I think, leveraging value, if you are a more comfortable producer or proud of the music that you made, maybe released or unreleased, have that, if they ask for the mix, have that there, your socials, and say just like, PS, here's some extra unreleased tracks, or, you know, if you want to check them out. I would say do it on SoundCloud, something that you can click and get to. It shouldn't, or it should be even one of the files as well, or like
Right.
MP3s. It needs to be something that it's a one click. Especially if you're trying to promote and get stuff through higher artists. If I had to click 3 or 4 times on your demo, I don't want it.
Yep.
I don't want to take that time.
Yep.
So I think that you should simplify your approach if possible. What's one of the easiest ways? EPK. So, you know, doing a very simple press kit about yourself, and then maybe including in that EPK that they open the hyperlinks to everything. You know, at the bottom you could be like, here's my guest mix, or here's a sample of what I do. Here's some unreleased tracks, or at least if you have stuff that you want to put out as well. But I think you need to consolidate what they're looking at as quick and let them consume it as quick as possible. If you give me a 3-page bio about yourself, I don't care. If I don't know you, I don't care. I mean,
You're not wrong. No.
I want a very synopsis. You are maybe X age. This is, you know, you've been doing it for this long. This is your goal. You sound kind of like this, maybe, or just how people. Boom. Some pictures of you. You know, if you don't have any stage photos, that's cool. Just get some professional like headshots or brand shots that you kind of want to go with it. Cut out the background and put it in your EPK and just kind of make it fit. It's kind of how I look at it. So that's probably the one thing. And I also wouldn't send anything outside of the business realm.
Right.
They don't care about your personal stuff. Don't send them upcoming releases. Hey, I just had this trap drop. Go check it out. No, they're not your fan. They're a promoter. This is business, not your consumers. So make sure you're acting business. Act very professional. Unless you know them different, then you can act however you want to act, but still act professional.
Right.
Please, thank you. I appreciate this. Thank you so much. You know, make sure your gratitude. You don't deserve a time slot. I don't deserve anything. I don't care if I'm more experienced than the guy below me. I don't deserve anything, and I don't ever take anything for granted. Like, I'm very, like, hey, thanks so much. And even after you're done with the event, this is kind of a side note, go up to him. Hey, man, thanks so much for, you know, let me play. Did you enjoy it? You know, let me know if you need anything in the future. Like, we'll keep in touch, and, you know, something like that. And then make sure, like, almost like if you've ever done like well, I'm sure you know, like a job interview. You have your interview and then always follow up.
Yep.
Maybe not that night, because normally the promoter's like running around. Make sure the main artist is taking care of this and that this stage usually, but always follow up and do your due diligence. Hey, just want to follow up again. Thanks so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. Did you get to catch any of the show for like me, where I played a few times with the promoter that I did that too? There was multiple stages, so they're kind of running around. I'm like, hey, did you catch any of the show? Did you like it? By the way, thanks a ton. Appreciate it. We'll stay in contact here soon. Sincerely, me.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think that some people are like, oh, that could be spammy. You hit them up too many times, but it's like you're showing how appreciative you are of that slot, and that goes a long ways because a lot of people don't understand manners in that aspect, in my opinion. People just think, I got dope music, I get to play what I want.
Oh yeah,
it's my time, I do what I want, kind of thing. When it's really not, and you're not guaranteed anything, unless you're bigger, and we're not.
Oh yeah.
So
and like with that, I mean, like it always, I don't know, like you said something about a job interview. So like, I mean, if you're not treating this as a job while still having fun, like I don't believe, like, you may go a long ways, because there are some artists out there that go a long ways without like being polite or whatever. Like that's just who they're known for. But
don't be those guys.
Yeah, don't be those guys. Like, show up early, help out, like jump to the task. If you see somebody doing something, you can go up and just be like, yo, what can I help with? I mean, because I don't know, every time that I've ever like played like a show that I haven't put on or anything like that, which hasn't been many, just because the whole Wyoming thing, it says more to me when somebody that's playing to walk in and be like, what do you want me to do? You need me to route cables? You need me to what do you need me to do? Like, put me somewhere, put me to work. Because it's a job. At the end of the day, it's literally a job. It's a career. Like,
exactly. And even if you're not making much money from it, you got to work your way up. This is not a normal job field. You got to really prove your worth, not only as a performer, but in the consumer's vision. And that you got to leave your ego at the door.
At the door.
Have fun in what you do, and do it good. Even if you're learning, if you're doing mediocre but you're having fun, I can see the thrill in your eyes in the music you're doing. That can go a long way. As just me watching in the crowd, if I see the producers or the DJ up there is having a good time, I'm having a little bit better time automatically.
Yep.
So I guess we can kind of wrap this up here in a second. So a couple things I always like to wrap up with. 3 biggest tips you could give any new artist that you wish you knew sooner. So let's do for you. Let's do 3 on as you wish you knew sooner in the promoting business side, like as a producer trying to get into what we're kind of talking about to get a show. 3 tips you wish you knew for that, and then 3 producing tips that made your production better that you wish you knew.
Okay. So for like the promoting and business side, like assume everybody's not your friend. Like until they are, until you like know that you guys are on that level. Keep it professional. Like,
let me yeah, okay. So best way, just keep it professional. Don't take it personal.
Yep.
Because once again, you're just a grain of sand to them. You have no worth at that time.
Yep. You're the box of or you're the bag of Oreos or whatever on the shelf at Walmart. Like, there's a ton of you.
100%.
So
second
one would be just be prepared. Be prepared for the worst. Always plan. Like, never walk into a situation without a backup.
And to add to that, when he's talking about that, especially if you're playing a show, you have an hour slot, I would say prep 15 to 20 minutes of extra songs. And then even after that, just have some extra songs that maybe if you really need to, just if you're like me and I'm not really just a free slinging DJ, like I like to prep my sets, just have it there so you can press play at least and have a 3-minute song burn out. It could be trash, but it's better than, or it's not going to be trash, but it's not going to be as hype, but it's better than no music going on.
Right.
My last show I played in Minneapolis, the guy after me actually 100% no-showed. He just didn't show up. I'm on stage. It's been like an hour 15. I'm kind of burning through, and I'm like, yo, and they're just like, So I was like, all right,
Yeah.
we're gonna run this back
Yep.
with songs with different drops. I'm gonna run some old songs, and this was more what I just said I hate doing. This was more just free mixing, beat matching, and all this stuff. But it was really fun, honestly. I had a lot of adrenaline, and I think I was honestly having a ton of fun during that time. But always be prepared to have extra. I wouldn't say you need a whole extra set's worth. If you do, that's cool, or like a backup set, cool. But just have some extra music in case the guy after you is having troubles loading in or doesn't show up or something. They can figure it gives management time to buffer and figure out what they need to do. So that's number 2.
Number 3 would have to be on the business side, like just, I mean, it really just comes down to like knowing where you're going, just doing a little bit of research. And like, I wish I would have known this earlier, but like walking into this, I wish I would have done more research, like that it's actually going to be hard work, that it's not going to just happen.
Yeah.
Like, and also I mean, it would be like best stated as like, know your demographic. Like if you're throwing a show in Wyoming, just know that maybe like 7% of the population is going to like dubstep, and the other 50 is going to be like, what is dubstep? And then a lot of them are going to hate it. And so being able to throw a show in that demographic and knowing what you're doing, like, and having that research behind you, like, you're going to have a lot better of a turnout.
I guess this brings up another question of mine. When you're saying doing your research, what's the best way you think for people to find promoters? Like, say they're like, I want to play a show at X. How do you think is the best way to go in finding the promoter's info? I have my approach. I just want to hear yours.
So my best approach, I mean, I wouldn't even call it like the best approach, is like Facebook groups or Discords. Like talking to artists that have played there that may not have been bigger. Maybe they're just like the opener slots, because you're more likely to get a hold of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's actually very different from my approach. So, when I moved to a new city, when I lived in Minneapolis, I knew no one up there, and that's where I started my project and all that. I was lucky. So what I did, I don't know if you recommend, I called the venues. I said, hey, blah, blah, I'm trying to get a booking for an opening slot. Can you give me the information to your promoter or your booking agent or something? And normally they'll be like, yeah, here you go, X, Y, and Z. And then from that point, whenever you go professional, approach them, tell them your mission statement right off the bat. Don't beat around the bush. Like I said, their time is very valuable. They're trying to put together these shows and all that. So make sure, once you get the info, pretty much what we've talked about before, make sure you send your mission statement, all that stuff to them. So yeah, no, that's a good idea. I never thought about that. And then, all right, let's go to production tips.
Okay, so first and foremost, dude, the one that I wish I would have known about earlier is sidechain, how to do it correctly. And like, because I mean, there's 1,000,001 videos on YouTube on how to sidechain, what is sidechain compression. There's so many different things. And really, if I would have known that earlier, because I mean, I'll admit my sidechain was awful up until like maybe 9 months ago. Like I've been producing for that long, and my sidechain was still garbage.
Too long or too short?
For almost like 7 years there was no sidechain. Didn't even know it existed.
I remember one of my tracks I put out. It's gone now, so y'all can't roast. Yep. My sidechain was just a little bit too wide, so you hear it, and you'd hear kind of the ducking come up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of sounded cool, but I think it was barely noticeable for like if a person was listening, they'd be like, oh, okay, like that sounds normal. But to like a producer, you'd be like, you're ducking a little too long, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah, sidechain's huge. If you want slapping drums, and if you're making EDM, you need slapping drums. Point case in any genre, drums are literally everything that EDM really is.
Yep.
Sidechain. So yes, I agree. 2?
2 would definitely be creative choice. Like, I wish I would have, I don't know, kind of employed this. I had an idea of it the whole time I've been producing, and that's just making what I want to make. But it's never be afraid to go outside the box.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's so many. That's how my EP came about. I was like, screw what every mentor I think would, like, what I think they would say, and what all these voices in my head are saying, or what I think people want to listen to. Like, this is what I want to make.
I agree. And
people get that energy.
if you make what you want to, even though it's different from what you generally put out, are you self-aware that it's probably not going to perform as well as what you're used to, or do you feel like it might have a chance? I mean, I guess yours. I don't know how different this EP is from your traditional music, but say are you ever worried about straying too far that you're going to lose your audience that you have?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, like, I get a little worried, but really it's more backed with, like, the fact that, I mean, it's displayed in my diversity, or in my DJing, which with the diversity, it allows more avenues for me to represent who I am and what I'm trying to do. So I know that somebody might not vibe with it. Like, there might be a good 100 couple people that don't vibe with it, but I know that there's going to be another mass of people that maybe have never heard my music, or maybe didn't like my music before, that are going to vibe with it just like I do.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. And what's your last tip for newcomers?
Don't take anything too seriously. Like, I mean, some people, so, like, I'll use Defire Society on this one. A lot of people walk into the Defire Society thinking they're the best, and that they have so much knowledge, and that they're gonna just be bangers. And then they walk in front of somebody like Felmax or Tobias.
I fucking love Felmax, dude.
Oh god, he says my snare transients are always shit, and it wrecks my soul, but it's okay because I don't take it seriously.
Yeah, no, I agree. Getting feedback from someone that's more knowledgeable would kind of play in this role as Defire. Is huge. Taking feedback from someone that's more knowledgeable, if they are saying something that's like fundamentally wrong with the track and not creative. Let's say sidechain. They're like, you need a sidechain. You're like, no, your track's it's just going to be awful. You have, like, there's a lot of things that aren't set in stone in music, and there's a lot of fundamental things that you just have to follow. So yeah, I agree with that. And to plug Fire Society, again, the Fire Society is a group of a producing group. It's pretty much like a school, honestly.
100% is.
Where you learn and get feedback on your tracks. They break down, or they bring in artists every week that break down the tracks, kind of talk about their creative process and all that. So if you guys are interested as well, I can give you guys a link to the Fire, or if you have any questions, leave them below. Any last words before we go here?
I just want to thank you guys for all, like, watching, and thank you, Wheysted. Like, that's insane. Like, this is insane. It's this is my first time on, like, a podcast video type thing. So I mean, like, this has been an experience, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. Sure. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to coming on. What's call it, or label out your socials for? Where can people find you?
So you can find me on SoundCloud under Trip Hvzvrd. The I is an exclamation point, and the A's are V's. Trip Hvzvrd on Twitter, Trip Hvzvrd on Instagram. It's kind of weird. Like, so Instagram and Facebook doesn't allow exclamation points for your eyes. Just saying. If you have any symbols in your name, I don't recommend it, but I'm already too far in the game to do that.
Committed.
So, yep.
Well, awesome. Yep. I'll also have all those socials linked below. As well, I'll also have your latest track that you give me. I'll actually bring it up right now. And yeah, man, I appreciate your time. If people want to reach out for events, maybe they are Wyoming local? No, maybe. Do you have a certain email, or just your Facebook, or how would you like to be contacted?
Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud. I'm active on them all. I check the messages on all of them just because it's what I do.
Cool. Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time and everything, and we'll Catch you on the next episode, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Don't at me, boo, don't even mention. Nah, that boy that fake water retention. Yeah, can't play those games inside my section. Nah, it's getting dark, I feel
True religion.